Everyone, Delta 21 here. We are back in the Ram. Not that I've ever been out of it. We are on our way to work. I was going to wait till I get to work to shoot a video. I got asked what scan tool I used. Well, not exactly. The exact question was what do I consider as a what do I recommend as an entry-level scan tool? I'm gonna do that later tonight. I have my tripod. I have my cameras. So, and I don't have all three of my scan tools, which doesn't really matter because I don't have one of them, and that's the basic one. That's the Actron, and it's a baby Actron. So basically, it tells you what the code is and what the description of it is. So I'm gonna go over that tonight, but just wanted to make a quickie as I'm coming to work. What ended up happening today was I messaged on, well, I watched one of my favorite YouTuber mechanics, and he showed in his video that got a new to him, or a new 906 BT, which is the exact same model that I have. And he was showing how it worked in his video, which is the way he used it is the exact same way I used it to fix my RAM. If anyone watched my videos back to when I was actually having to go through electrical issues, especially when I had to look at airbag modules and airbag sensors and stuff like that. But I made the comment on there that I have the exact same I have the exact 906 BT that I got at the beginning of the year to repair my flooded RAM. Well, I got 2 likes on that, and I got 1 reply on that saying a Dodge that was underwater and you're going to try to repair it, with sarcasm, by the way. It's not hard to pick out sarcasm just because you're typing it. But it said a Dodge that you had underwater and you're going to repair it. If it was past the axles, good luck with that, because you're going to need it. It's pretty much what it said. Well, I replied to him, not in a sarcastic way. Yes, you give sarcasm, you get sarcasm, but not in a disrespectful way. Replied to him telling him, well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but it was to the windshield and I repaired it and it's been running properly for 8 months now. So, it's been going on for 8 months now, and I've had no issue with it. Actually, I've been driving it for, well, no, the only issues that I have with the truck are issues that I took shortcuts with. But initially, it's been 8 months since I've actually had an issue with the truck, but the truck's been actually, basically all the stuff that I knew that was wrong with the truck, the electrical issues were sorted out 8 months ago. But I've only been driving the truck since April. The truck has been, not driven, but started, moved around and stuff like that. So while I try to get some aftermarket parts that I wanted on the truck that doesn't come on this trim level of truck, but essentially 8 months it's been trouble-free. Again, the only trouble I've had is because of me skipping getting new parts, getting used parts. So I'm waiting to hear back from that. To see what he has to say, what sarcasm he's got to say out of it, if he replies at all, which I don't really care. I just feel that you should nitpick at somebody because you think you're smarter than everybody else because they're working. That's basically where you have these YouTubers that go to Copart and they get vehicles that are beyond repair or to a point where they shouldn't be gotten, and the YouTuber gets them and starts working on it, and you get all these hate messages or hate posts about how they shouldn't get that, or they shouldn't fix it that way, or they should do it this way. That's basically what you got, because the entire post that I posted was about getting the BT 906 BT and it helping me out a lot getting my Ram on the road. And you picked out of that conversation, you have a Dodge. First of all, he said Dodge. I said Ram. There's a difference between a Dodge and a Ram. Yes, they look alike. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know the differences. Not just exterior-wise, but interior-wise and electrically-wise. The Ram 1500s and the Dodge Ram 1500s, there's a difference in them. And a Dodge Ram 1500 is anything from 20, I think, is it early? It's either early 2014, early 2013 or late 2013 is the latest. But basically it's from 2009, let's say late 2008 when they switched over to the 2009s, and the early late 2012s when the 2013s came out. Those are Dodge Ram 1500s. From 2013 up to now, they've been Ram 1500s. Ram 1500s have a completely different electrical system. They have a completely different architecture inside of it, all of that. And yes, I do know that because I've had this truck completely stripped out, replacing the body harness, dash harness, HVAC harness, engine harness, cab engine compartment harness on that side, both door module, wiring harness, the rear view mirror wire harness, which is definitely different. The radio different. I think the wiring for the radio is the same, but the radio is different. The bezel for the radio is different. All that's different when you switch over from those two gens. Same gen, later model. But essentially, let's turn it down. But essentially, I don't know where that came from with that guy. When we were talking about the scan tool, he just picks out the fact that I have a Dodge and that I've worked when it was flooded and I went to work on it. It doesn't matter if you have a Dodge, Ford, Chevy, Volvo, BMW. It doesn't matter. A flooded vehicle is going to act differently. No flooded vehicle will act the same. You can get two Dodges, flood them underwater. For prime example, this truck here, remember, I don't know if anyone that's watching remembers, this truck had an identical truck at the dealership that it was sitting next to with the same trim level, everything. It was flooded as well. That truck did not, that truck started. My truck didn't. Well, I don't know if it ran. That truck did start. It had on Copart that it started, but it didn't run. This truck was just enhanced. This truck did not run, no power, no nothing. The other truck ran. Of course, eventually that truck probably will end up in the state that my truck ended up in, where it was just dead altogether. But my truck, no power. That truck could start. Whether it drives, I don't know. But it could start. Whereas my truck, identical to that one, different issues. So you can have the same thing with a Chevy and a Dodge. A Chevy might be in worse condition where you'd have to basically replace the entire truck. Where on this truck, all I had to do was replace the entire nervous system of the truck. Nothing else had to be replaced. It doesn't matter who makes the vehicle. It doesn't matter. A flooded vehicle is a flooded vehicle. A Lamborghini can get flooded and they're going to total it right out because the exact same thing happens. The only true way that you're going to get a vehicle that's going to be waterproof. What the hell? All right, there's a fly that got in here because I was sitting next to a garbage can when I was throwing away trash, and it's stuck in here now. But essentially, the only way you can make a vehicle waterproof is to make it to where you can't get in or out of it. And that is also saying that basically, even then, it's water resistant, not waterproof, because it'd be autonomous, obviously, but you'd have to have some way for the wiring on the outside and the wiring on the inside to be able to communicate so it knows what anything. Well, technically, I guess you wouldn't, because no one would be in it, so you wouldn't have a climate control, you wouldn't need steering wheels, you wouldn't need the internal, you wouldn't need nothing in rearview mirrors and all that crap. So I guess technically the interior would technically be a block. I think those stuff like those tugs that push planes around, that would be perfect for those, because they literally only need one place to hook up, and then the rest of it can be like isolated. But essentially, unless they have I forgot the coating on it. There's a coating that you can coat electrical boards in to make them water. I don't really think that's considered waterproof, really, because I guess at some point something's going to come off, because water dissolves anyway. Essentially, it's like stainless steel. Stainless steel does rust. It just takes longer to rust. It takes so much longer for stainless steel to rust that it's considered stainless rust-free, because it takes so much longer to rust. Where I could take, like my truck, it's been underwater, okay? The only thing that's rusty in here was the frame rail that the dash mounts to. That was it. That was the only thing. Well, if that was made out of stainless steel or any other metal, it probably wouldn't even rust. It probably wouldn't even show signs of rust. Like we have a trailer that's out here now that's made out of steel. The paint's eroded away. It's rusting. If that was made out of stainless steel, it wouldn't rust. Of course, it'd be an expensive trailer, but it wouldn't rust. Technically, it wouldn't rust, because I'll put it this way, the reason that something's called rust-free is not because it won't rust. It's because the time that it takes to rust before it's out of service is not going to infringe upon the fact that it's considered rust-free. I think they did more concrete today. Now I gotta walk over there and see. Crap. I don't want to go over there. They put bars up too. Gotta be nosy. See you guys. I'm gonna do the video on the two scan tools I have, which I have my Autel 906 BT, which I might have to check to see if it's charged. Now I won't be able to show you guys the C reader that I have. I'll show you it, but I won't be able to show you how it operates, because you need to be plugged into a car to do that. But I'll show you that one, and I'll explain that one. I'll explain why that one is a semi type of, really the C reader from Launch is a prime example of what I mean by there is no such thing as an entry-level scan tool, depending on what your situation is. So, like, there is no such thing as an entry-level scan tool in, like, a shop that's dedicated to, like, let's say there's a shop that's dedicated to Snap-on. There's no entry-level scan tool for that. You like Snap-on, you're going to buy a Snap-on, okay? If you're an Autel garage, you're going to buy an Autel. If you're a Launch garage, you're going to buy a Launch. If you're a factory, you're going to use the factory scan tool. Independent garages are the only ones that's going to have, well, not just independent, because those would really fall under the whole fanboy ones. There's quite a few dealerships out there that don't, not dealership, but garages out there that don't care what they have. They just want to be productive. Where they can't afford to get an entry-level scan tool because they can't use it. It would make them their lives productive. Now, you have, like, backyard mechanics and, like, shade tree mechanics and hobby mechanics. I'm a hobby mechanic, is what you would call. We wrench not when we have to. We wrench because we want to. We don't get paid to do it. We don't. Basically, if someone needs, let's say you need your brakes done, you need your a wheel bearing replaced, you need a tune-up, you need basically anything shy of me having to pull the engine and transmission, I will do. And you'll have this issue with what to charge them, because you're not doing it because you're trying to get a profit. You're doing it because you want to do it. So those are the, like, hobby mechanics are the ones that you're going to be able to get the best price of getting something repaired, especially something simple. Hobby mechanics you do not go to, especially now, me as a hobby mechanic, I would be good to go to for diagnostics, because I have my Autel, I have my O-scope, I have my voltmeters, I have my know-how of how diagnostics work. Not completely, but enough to diagnose something. Most hobbyists don't do that because these scan tools are not cheap. Which is why you go for the entry-level scan tool in their category. And I'll explain that in the video. So I'm going to get out. I'm going to go be nosy with this concrete that they just poured. And then I'm going to go inside and I'm going to shoot that video. Peace.